For this project, we're going to be converting flat rectangles into three-dimensional buildings. At least we're going to create the illusion of 3 dimensions. A lot of students have seen this before, where you draw a square, roughly a square, and then to make it look like a cube, you draw another square that's just shifted a little bit, like this. Now this second square becomes the front, and this first square becomes the back of a cube. Then you connect the corners, and you have a three-dimensional cube. Especially if we outline this front square, you see the 3 dimensions. This would be the height, this would be the width, and this line, the diagonal, would be the depth. And those are our 3 dimensions. For this lesson, I have a little card that is 2.5 inches by 3.5 inches, and that helps me to get the right size for each one of my building facades. You will also need a whole sheet of construction paper and another blank piece of paper to cut out these small cards. Boys and girls, as we begin this project on architecture, I want to remind you of our word, element of art, for this section of our art class is form. That's a 3-dimensional object. So if you look here, the square in column A becomes a cube in column B, and that's because we can see height, width, and depth. So now we're going to start looking at buildings, and this little flashcard says the front view of a building is called a facade. The word is facade. You pronounce the C with an S sound. The whole front wall of the main entrance of a building is a facade. And we're going to be working with that architecture term today as we design 9 facades on one building. We're going to make them look 3-dimensional. So the way we'll do that is we will take these tracer cards. They are 2.5 inches by 3 inches. Sorry, 3.5. It's 2.5 inches by 3.5 inches. And these I have in the building, in the school, for you to trace. These are going to give us the outside measurements of our buildings. And so, if I was to just have that one card and cut it out, this is one facade, although you're going to do 9. I'm doing the first one to show you here. Now our little trick to make this rectangle look like a rectangular prism is that I will trace or draw a vertical line and a horizontal line and connect the corner with a diagonal. The diagonal line will give the illusion of depth. The height, the width, and this is the depth line. But if I have a diagonal here, I want to make the same diagonal down here and down here. And if you have two little triangles, we're going to nip those off. And that will create the third dimension. And just like that, we've done a little magic and created one of our facades. We'll line up 9 of them. And that should give us the basics before we start to design each building. After you have cut out your 9 slips of paper, we need to make sure they all have the front of the building and the diagonal lines drawn on them so that we have all 9 buildings ready to go. I used this tracer card to help me draw the other right angle. So I just offset the card down and to the right, and then I traced that line for a smaller rectangle. And now I need to draw the diagonal line here, and the same angle goes down to this corner here and to this corner here. Now each of my cards needs to look like that. Before you glue down all of your buildings, make sure you have arranged them on your paper so that they all fit. We want them all to fit. And see here, I have a narrow shape there. That shape would be called a rhombus. And we want all of those shapes on the same end, because that will be the top of a building. And we want all the rooftops pointing up. So don't make the mistake of having a rooftop pointing down. We want them all pointing up. So arrange your collage before you glue it down. And then, when you have it all arranged, you can simply glue them down one by one. Once we have glued down our 9 building facades, we get to do the fun part of this project, which is to make each of our buildings unique by decorating the front and the side and the rooftop. We can make each of these unique. I'll look forward to seeing what you create